Hello, I'm Fran, and I'm still a boomer.
And I'm Tyler, and I'm still a Zoomer. So how you doing today, Fran?
I'm fabulous, thank you.
That's wonderful, and I hope you guys are all having a wonderful May. So today we wanted to talk about the housing report numbers from this year, from last year, and since it's our 10th episode, from 10 years ago. So we're going to be looking at housing numbers from 2014 and see sort of how they compare to today's numbers.
It's going to blow your mind.
Yeah. So let's start with 2024. So in the high desert, the average home price is $430,000. That's pretty,
That's
not
amazing.
too bad. That's great for California, I would say, on average price. If you go anywhere like
Yes.
Ontario, Rancho, it's like $600,000, $700,000.
Oh my God, yeah, that's why people move up here.
Yeah, and then so let's take a look at last year and see what the average price was last year, and you could take that to compare if you would have bought a home last year, how much equity you would have gained.
Correct.
So last year, the median sold price in the high desert was $400,000. So that's $30,000 you essentially would have made by just owning the house. And that's not taking into account any monthly payments
Tax
or anything.
advantages.
Yeah, your mortgage and everything. So that's pretty intense. You know what I mean? What else can you make $30,000 in a year? That's not too bad of an investment.
There's no way you're going to be able to save that kind of money. So
now, if you think that 1 year difference blows your mind, let's take a look back at 2014. So in 2014, the average sales price for a home in the high desert was, drum roll please, $167,000. How crazy is that? That's $263,000 in pure equity from your house. Can you imagine that?
So you're equity rich, and a lot of people don't make that connection, but it's there.
Definitely. How crazy is that, though? So that just goes to show that real estate is one of the best investments for long term or even short term, because you could always flip the property.
Absolutely.
And you know what I mean. But
you could get the equity also and purchase more investment properties, whatever.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So now that we kind of went over the marketing report numbers and sort of the stats from 2014, 2023, and 2024, let's sort of talk about how you get approved to purchase a home in today's market.
Yes.
And Fran, do you want to touch up a little bit on that?
Yes, I want to let people know, especially like your generation, that is just starting, to live their life. I'm on my final kind of chapter, but that's all right. I think
teach us your experience.
Yes,
Fran. Yeah.
I think the most important thing is establishing credit, because credit is everything.
How do you do that? Because I know in my generation we don't really understand this stuff. They don't teach us this in school.
Yeah, they don't teach you that in school.
Can you kind of just expand upon how to establish your credit and how to start building your credit?
Well, you start little. You could start with the gas card. You could start with the Macy's card, J.C. Penney, any store, department store, whatever. Just establish your credit, pay it off on time. Don't ever be late. Yeah. And in a couple of months, maybe a year, even they consider like if you have a phone, cell phone, stuff like that establishes, and they could see that you have a pattern of paying your bills on time.
And something I would like to touch on that, and maybe people my age or anybody really just starting to build that credit history.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing, and you touched on it, the whole gas card. So me personally, I have a credit card. It has a good savings and a return, and I get points whenever I go to a gas station. So I only use that card for a gas station, and then I pay it at the end of the month. So it's money I already have, and I'm just paying it off. So it's there's no effect to me. I'm not paying interest on the credit card as long as it's paid off every month. And in that time, I'm building credit. Slowly, but it's
little
something.
By little,
yes, definitely.
So that's the first thing, the most important thing. And then, of course, you have to be employed. 2 years of employment, which you have to show, paperwork-wise.
And it doesn't have to be at the same job.
Right.
Just continually been working for the last 2 years. So say you left say you're working at, I don't know, a restaurant, and you decided this wasn't for me. I want to go work at the library or something. That's completely fine as long as you have had those 2 years.
Yes, as long as they can see the history.
Definitely.
Right? And then, of course, you need proof. So you need pay stubs. You need 2 years of your W-2s. You need tax returns. So you have to kind of plan everything out.
And to get a hold of all those documents, you can easily reach out to a loan officer, and they can help advise you where you would find all those documents. So if you're someone who's not necessarily the most organized, I know I'm not always the most organized, you can definitely reach out to a loan officer or reach out to us, and we can put you in touch with them, and they can kind of guide you on where to get access to those resources.
Correct.
Definitely.
Because if you're going to go look at homes with an agent, of course, you have to have that in place. You have to have a mortgage approval to go along with your offer. If you don't have that mortgage approval, they won't even talk to you.
Yeah, well, and it's just a good idea, so that way you're not getting your dreams up, seeing a home for $430,000
Exactly.
when you're only approved for $380. You know what I mean?
That's
That's
so-
just out of the realm. So it's a great way
So
to
important.
sort of dial down and figure out what that number is for you. But what are the other requirements?
Then the other thing is you need your bank statements. So you need 2 months of bank statements, 2 months of if you have an investment property. So you have to show all your financials.
Yeah, you kind of just have to put everything out on the table
Exactly.
for the loan officers to review, and then they take that into account, and
Yes.
then they create that loan amount for you.
Yes. So I know it's it's a challenge because everybody just wants to go and look at houses. And that's great. However, if you don't do these steps first, you're going to get disappointed, you're going to get rejected, and you don't want that.
Definitely. What we're trying to say here is that getting pre-approved is essentially the first step into buying
First
a
step.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a few questions for you, Fran, if you don't mind. So since we're kind of focusing on 10 years, 10 years ago, since this is our 10th episode, I was curious what your office environment was like 10 years ago. So where did you work at 10 years ago, and how was sort of the atmosphere there?
Yeah, well, 10 years ago, I was working for a small firm. Wasn't nothing like Century 21 or Coldwell Banker. It was just a friend of mine that had her broker's license.
Yeah.
And it was a lot less commission that I had to give to her because we didn't have like an office or
Oh, okay.
a huge overhead.
Yeah.
So, but the prices were, oh my goodness, so much less. That it is just mind-boggling to me that in Adelanto, the houses now are like in the 400,000s.
Yeah, no, that is crazy.
But it was the same kind of concept. You had to get pre-qualified. You had to have your credit in order.
Yeah.
I believe the minimal credit now is, I think, 620.
Oh, okay.
So that's the FICO score you have to have.
Yeah. And then also, so how does that kind of, or where do you think the real estate market will be in the next 10 years? Since you just kind of reviewed what the last 10 years, how the market has
Yes.
changed, how do you think it's going to appear in the next 10 years? Where do you think the market's
I
going to be
hope and pray that interest rates go down.
In the next 10 years, I'm pretty confident
I
they'll go
hope
down in
so.
the next 10 years.
Because when we had that flash with the COVID and they were like 2 point something or 3 point something, it was really
So I've
busy.
actually heard stories too about that time. I have a family friend who lives in Florida. He got that 2% right, and he actually bought down the rate. So
See?
he has 0% interest on his house.
Oh, wow.
How amazing is that?
That is crazy.
That's amazing.
But
isn't
yeah,
it?
things like that can happen. But you got to be in the game. So you have to start planning as young as you can.
And it's not up to
Yeah.
you. It's not really your responsibility to sort of have all these knowledges of how to take advantage of all the real estate market. That's
Correct.
why you need to reach out to an agent like
Yes.
myself or Fran who
Yes.
can help guide you in the right direction and lead you towards that building wealth.
Yes, because
Yeah.
that's the bottom line. I mean, if you were to buy a house now, you're 21. Gosh, in 30 years,
It'd be paid off.
you'll still be young. Your house will be paid off. You could probably, tap into that equity.
And realistically,
Purchase more.
you could probably retire just off having one house paid off if you can, you know what I mean, live
Exactly.
diligently and figure out everything.
Exactly.
So if you can just start that process today, in 30 years, that process is done and it's taking care of itself for you.
Yes.
So much benefits.
I mean, there's a 54-year difference in our age.
Mm-hmm.
So the world that I see today and the world that you're seeing is totally different.
Definitely.
Completely. It's good and it's bad. I mean, all the technology we have today is fabulous, but on the other hand, it kind of distances us from being more,
Personable with each other.
personable, more together. There'll always be a need for real estate people, always. People need that contact.
Yeah, and it touched kind of on that point of nowadays sort of being less personable, like
Yes.
just environment. And I think everybody witnesses that. You know what I mean? You go to
Yes.
the store and there's always not the best customer service or something. But that's why I think I pride myself, and I know you pride yourself on being personable and being there for the people.
Yes,
You know what I mean? Taking care of
absolutely.
every
That's
one of
so
their needs.
important.
Even throughout my transactions and yours too, I imagine we've dealt with so much other stuff that's not pertaining to
Oh,
selling
yeah.
the house. We've gone to courthouses. We've gone
Yeah.
driven down the street just to check the water lines. We've done
So much
multiple other
more.
things, and that's what we pride ourselves on as agents, as representatives of Coldwell Banker, and just who we
Yes.
are. Is we want to take care of you guys to the fullest extent.
Absolutely.
But,
And then
yeah.
congratulations to you. You sold a house enclosed.
Yes.
Then you got a
ma'am.
listing.
We do have a listing in the same neighborhood. So if
Yes.
you guys did see that last house I sold on Brentwood Street in Victorville, we have another listing, similar size, same bedrooms, 3 beds, 2 baths. This one is a little bit cheaper too. So if that one was a little bit
There you
above
go.
your price range, reach out to me today and we can get you into that house and we can start showing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as a baby boomer, I encourage all baby boomers to start simplifying life. Start downsizing. You're upsizing, we're
Yeah.
downsizing. But it's all good.
Definitely.
So
Is there anything else you wanted to touch on,
well,
friend?
I just want to remind everybody about Memorial Day because we have to honor and mourn the brave heroes that gave their life up for our freedom, for
Definitely.
us to live the lifestyle that we have now. So please remember a veteran or, I'm sorry, someone that has passed, and there's many that have passed and made that sacrifice.
And we thank you for your guys' services.
Yes, thank you
deeply.
for that.
Awesome.
And I think we've covered
That's
everything.
it.
Any questions? Call us.
Yeah,
We're here for
no
you.
kidding.
We're here for you.
Alrighty, thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to follow us along and continue our real estate
Yes.
journey. And we'll see you guys next month for another episode of The Boomer and the Zoomer.
Yes.
Take care. Bye.